You know, when you are learning a new language, there is almost always um, this universal moment of sheer panic,
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
right? You are standing at a coffee shop, or maybe you're just, waiting in a conference room for a meeting to start.
Mm.
And a native speaker turns to you and asks a very simple, casual question.
And suddenly your mind just goes completely blank.
Yes, completely blank. You know the vocabulary, you have studied the grammar. But putting it all together in real time, it feels like trying to solve a complex puzzle in the dark while someone is timing you.
It is an incredibly common feeling, and frankly, it is completely understandable. The pressure to sound natural can instantly freeze you up.
It really can.
Because, when we learn a language, we often focus so much on the strict rules of grammar that we forget how to just navigate an ordinary everyday chat.
Exactly. But today, for everyone listening, we are dismantling that panic. We are going to take things at a nice, comfortable pace.
That sounds perfect.
We are diving into some fantastic notes and strategies from Tim's English channel. And our focus today is a topic that acts as a kind of hidden skeleton key to English-speaking cultures.
Which is sports.
Sports. But here is the critical thing for you, the listener. This deep dive is not about memorizing the rules of baseball or becoming an expert in tennis.
Right. Nobody expects you to be a referee.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It is about uncovering the social tools you need to make connections, start conversations at work, and just survive small talk, even if you absolutely hate sports.
And that is the real secret here. You do not need to care about the sport to master the conversation around it.
Yes, exactly.
Because language learning is fundamentally about human connection. Being able to navigate a chat about the weekend football game is a bridge. It shows the other person that you are engaging with their culture, and it gives you a safe, predictable framework to practice your English.
So let us start at the very beginning. Before you can debate who the best player is or, what happened in last night's game, you have to establish whether the person you are talking to actually cares.
Right, you have to test the waters.
Yes. So imagine you are standing by the coffee machine at work. The easiest, most fundamental icebreaker is simply, do you like sports?
It is the perfect temperature check. It is short, it is friendly, and it completely opens the door for the other person to guide the conversation.
Now, if they love sports, they will likely give you an enthusiastic response, right?
Oh, definitely. They might say, yes, I love sports, or I am a big sports fan. And just to clarify for our learners, a fan is simply someone who really, really likes something.
But the real high-stakes social dynamic happens when the answer is negative,
Yes, this is where it gets tricky.
right? What if someone asks you, do you like sports?
Mm.
And honestly, you do not care at all. You want to be honest, but you also do not want to sound rude or just, shut the conversation down completely.
This is a critical moment in casual English conversation because in English-speaking cultures, especially in the US and the UK, shutting down small talk too aggressively is considered a minor social faux pas.
A mistake, yeah.
Right. If you just say, no, I hate sports, it creates this really awkward silence.
Okay, let's unpack this. Our source material highlights two incredibly valuable phrases for this exact moment. The first is for when you only like sports a little bit. You would say, I'm not crazy about them.
I'm not crazy about them. That is such a useful phrase.
It really softens the blow. You are saying you might watch a big championship game if it is on television at a bar, but you are not actively following a team every single week.
Precisely. You are keeping the door open, just a little bit. And if you truly have zero interest in sports, the phrase you want to use is, sports aren't really my thing.
Not really my thing. I love that one. I think of not my thing like politely tuning down a specific dish at a dinner party.
Oh, that is a good way to look at it.
Right. Imagine someone offers you a plate of olives, and you absolutely despise olives. You do not yell, I hate olives, keep them away from me.
No, that would ruin the mood of the whole party.
Exactly. Instead, you just wave your hand gently and say, oh, no thank you. Olives aren't really my thing.
It is polite, it is clear, and it establishes a boundary without building a wall.
That is a brilliant analogy because not my thing is what we call a conversational pivot.
A pivot, meaning a gentle turn.
Yes, you are signaling to the other person, I am enjoying talking to you. I just want to talk about a different topic. It invites them to ask you, what is your thing? It keeps the dialogue flowing naturally.
Okay, let us look at the other side of the coin. Imagine you ask your new coworker, do you like sports? And their eyes light up. They say, yes, I am a huge sports fan. The natural next step is figuring out what they actually watch.
Right. You would ask, what is your favorite sport? Or what do you like to watch?
And depending on where you are in the world, the answer to this question might bring up one of the most famous cultural quirks in the English language. Ah, yes. The great soccer versus football debate.
The classic. If you are speaking to an American and they say they love watching football, they are talking about American football. You know, the game with the helmets, the heavy shoulder pads, and the brown oval-shaped ball.
Right. But in almost every other country on Earth, football means the game played by kicking a black and white sphere into a net.
Which Americans, of course, call soccer.
It is a classic point of confusion for learners. But regardless of what you call it, it is a globally understood reference point. Soccer is known for its fast pace and incredible teamwork.
Yes, and other common answers you will hear are basketball, which the notes mention has lots of points, like in the NBA tennis, baseball, or volleyball.
Exactly. And this brings us to a really interesting piece of vocabulary from the source material.
Right, the event vocabulary. When we talk about these events, we use very specific words to describe them. We say we're going to a basketball game or a baseball game.
But we say we were watching a tennis match or a soccer match.
Wait, let me stop you there. So we say a basketball game, but a tennis match. Is there a strict rule here that learners need to memorize, or is this just English being English?
It is a bit of both, actually. Linguists call this collocation.
Collocation, meaning words that naturally go together.
Exactly. Over generations, native speakers have naturally grouped these specific words together until they sound permanently linked. But there is a subtle historical logic to it that can help you remember.
Oh, please share. That sounds super helpful.
The word match originally referred to a pairing of two equal sides or individuals. Think of a boxing match or a tennis match, where it is often one-on-one or a very symmetrical test of skill.
Oh, wow. So matching two equal opponents against each other.
Precisely. Whereas the word game has broader historical roots tied to amusement, play, and group activities. Over time, match stuck heavily to sports like tennis, soccer, and rugby, particularly in British English.
And game became the default for American sports like
Yeah.
basketball and baseball.
Right. As a learner, you do not need to memorize the entire history, but grouping these specific words together creates a complete toolkit for your Monday morning conversations. Just practice the pairs. Basketball game. Tennis match.
That context makes it so much easier to remember. Now, when you are watching that game or match, you usually have a specific team you want to win.
Right. Your favorite team.
You might say, my favorite team is the Lakers, or I support Real Madrid. But the source notes highlight an idiom that I use all the time, which is root for, as in I root for the Chicago Bulls.
Root for is deeply embedded in conversational English, and if we look at the imagery of the word, it makes perfect sense.
Like the roots of a plant.
Exactly. Think about the roots of a giant oak tree. They are underground, firmly planted in the soil, holding the tree up and giving it strength against the wind.
Oh, I love that. So when you root for a team, you are essentially saying you are their foundation. You are cheering for them, firmly planted by their side, giving them your energy and loyalty.
Yes, it is a much stronger emotional connection than just saying you like them. You can applaud a good play made by any team just because you appreciate the athleticism, but you only root for your team.
Right. And at the end of that match, there are three possible outcomes. Your team will win, they will lose, or the score will be exactly the same.
And if the score is exactly the same, we call it a tie or a draw.
The game ended in a tie. You know, I have always wondered about the word draw in this context. Does it come from drawing the game out longer because nobody won?
That is a great guess. But it actually traces back to an older phrase, to draw blank, or to withdraw from the battlefield with neither side claiming victory.
Oh, to withdraw.
Right. The two sides pull away or draw away equally, so you can say the match was a draw or they tied, and both sound incredibly natural.
Okay, so we've survived the water cooler chat about watching sports on television. But eventually, the conversation is going to pivot. Someone is going to ask you what you do for your health or exercise.
And this brings us to what I think is one of the most useful grammar rules in the English language.
Yes, here's where it gets really interesting. In English, when we talk about participating in a sport or a physical activity, we do not just use one verb. We use three different verbs, depending on the activity: play, go, and do.
And for a learner, it can seem totally random at first. Why do I play tennis but go swimming?
Right. As a native speaker, I do this entirely by instinct. But for everyone listening, I want you to actually practice this out loud with us right now as we go through it.
It is actually a very elegant system. Let us break down the three verbs. The first verb is play. We use play for sports that involve a ball or for structured, competitive team games.
So if there is a ball, you play. You play soccer, you play basketball, you play tennis, you play baseball.
Exactly. Play inherently implies toys or games with strict rules. If there is a ball involved, you are playing with it.
Okay, so say it with us. Play basketball. Play tennis. Got it. What about the second verb?
The second verb is go. We use go for physical activities that end in the letters ing. Ah, so you go running, you go swimming, you go cycling, you go skiing.
Right. And the logic here is that the activity itself acts almost like a destination. You are moving through space. You are physically going somewhere to perform the continuous action.
That makes perfect sense. You would never say, I play swimming, you go to the activity. So practice that one. Go running, go swimming.
Now, the third verb is do. We use do for martial arts, gymnastics, or individual exercises that do not use a ball.
So you do yoga, you do karate, you do gymnastics. Say it aloud. Do yoga.
Yes, because these are individual performances. You are executing movements with your own body. You are not playing with an object, and you are not traveling to a continuous ing destination. You are simply doing the form.
This pattern is so elegant. Is there a ball? Play. Does it end in ing? Go. Is it an individual art? Do.
It synthesizes everything beautifully. It
Yeah.
takes the guesswork out of English for beginners. By spotting the pattern, learners can sound completely natural.
Okay, I have to challenge this, though, because English is famous for breaking its own rules.
Oh, always. Yeah. What about bowling? Uses a heavy ball. But I always say, I'm going to go bowling. Why don't I play bowling?
The inevitable exceptions. This is where the ing rule actually overpowers the ball rule, because the word bowling ends in ing, and because it involves traveling to a specific location, a bowling alley, to perform a continuous activity, go takes precedence. You go bowling.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
What about golf? There is a ball, but I have heard people say both. I play golf and I go golfing.
Yes. Golf is a fantastic example of how English bends to fit the speaker's intent. If you say, I play golf, you are focusing on the structured sport. You are talking about the rules, the score, the competition.
Right.
But if you say, I'm going golfing this weekend, you are treating it as a continuous leisure activity. You are focusing on the experience of walking the course.
That nuance is incredible.
Yeah.
By understanding that logic, you completely remove the need to memorize hundreds of individual sports. Just apply the pattern.
It really is empowering for learners.
So now that we know whether to play, go, or do, we need to know what to hold in our hands or put on our feet. The gear. And the vocabulary here is very specific in the notes.
Yes, the source points out a few key items. If you are playing a racket sport like tennis or badminton, you hit the ball with a racket.
Racket.
Right. If you're playing baseball, you use a bat, a wooden or metal bat.
But the most universal piece of equipment is what goes on our feet. The notes mention that in English, general sports shoes are often called sneakers.
Sneakers.
I always love that word.
Yeah.
Because it literally comes from the fact that early rubber-soled shoes were so quiet compared to hard leather boots that you could sneak around silently in them.
It is a very literal origin, and sneakers is a great everyday word. But if you are playing a sport on wet grass, like soccer or American football, smooth rubber sneakers are useless.
Yeah, you will slip and fall immediately.
Exactly. You need shoes that have hard spikes on the bottom to grip the dirt. Those specific spiked shoes are called cleats.
Sneaking around in sneakers, gripping the grass in cleats. I love it. Okay, so we have built this massive toolkit today. We have learned how to politely pivot with not my thing. We understand a game versus a match. We know the golden rule of play, go and do, and we have our sneakers laced up.
Right. We are fully equipped.
Let us look at how this all comes together in real life, drawing straight from the role plays in the source notes. Scenario 1. You are meeting a new friend. One person loves soccer, specifically Real Madrid. The other person says, sports aren't my thing.
But notice what the second person does next. They do not just stop talking. They shift to the new grammar rule and say they go swimming and do yoga.
Yes. They use the pivot beautifully. Scenario 2. Coworkers are chatting about a close basketball game. One person admits, I'm not very athletic.
Which means they are not naturally good at playing sports.
Right. But they add that they still go for evening walks. I want to ask you, why is that specific phrase, I am not very athletic, so empowering for an English learner to use? Why is it better to admit a weakness than to just say, I don't play?
What is fascinating here is that vulnerability actually builds trust. When you say, I am not very athletic, you are showing a bit of self-awareness and humility. It completely removes any pressure to pretend you are a sports expert.
It takes the pressure off entirely.
Exactly. The other person usually immediately relaxes, and they often respond by sharing something they are bad at, too. It proves that the goal of these conversations is discovering shared hobbies, not pretending to be an expert. It keeps the dialogue flowing.
So what does this all mean? If we step back and wrap up the core message from Tim's English channel, it isn't just a list of vocabulary words.
No, it is much bigger than that.
It is a reminder for you, our listener, that when speaking English, you do not need to be perfect. The most important thing is simply to try speaking and to be friendly.
Precisely. If you accidentally say, I play swimming, the person you are talking to will still understand exactly what you mean. The connection happens because you made the effort.
You used the tools you had to engage with them. And to help you practice using these tools, we want to present the source's question of the day directly to you. Think about your own life right now. What is your favorite sport, and why do you like it?
Or, if you don't like sports, what exercise or activity do you do instead? Practice answering that out loud.
And as you think about that, we want to leave you with one final intriguing challenge to mull over, something that builds on everything we learned today.
Yes. Think about a traditional sport or physical activity from your own home country, something deeply cultural. Based on the grammar rules you learned today, if you were explaining it to an English speaker, would you play it, go it, or do it?
Oh, that is a brilliant challenge. It forces you to take the English rule and apply it to your own world. Take that thought with you today. Keep practicing your English every single day. Be brave in your conversations, and remember, we are cheering for you.
We are rooting for you.
Yes, rooting for you. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Talk to you next time.